Hello everyone, this is Jordan from Tranquil-it, and today a video about setting up Grafana within WAPT. The idea with Grafana is to generate beautiful dashboards. Grafana does this very well actually. I need to show you how to interface Grafana and WAPT. The model that we quickly created will make it available, I think, in the video description, and then I'll show you basically how to install Grafana, how to set it up, and how to create your first dashboard. For this, I set up an infrastructure with a WAPT server and its agent. And I'm going to rely on two sets of documentation. The first one will be from IT Connect to ultimately install Grafana. And so with this documentation, we won't need to use everything. We'll focus on this part here. Ultimately install the necessary packages. And then we'll go to the WAPT documentation to connect to the WAPT database with a PostgreSQL client, basically allowing Grafana to retrieve the information it needs to display to you. We don't want everything. I'm not going to dwell on the commands. The idea is to run them fairly quickly on the server. It's very clear. I encourage you to follow along. However, note that the approach I'm presenting is just one method among many others. There are ways to do things more securely. You can also do things in a cleaner way. Well, as for us, we're working calmly with the WAPT software. If you want something different, you can rely on the PostgreSQL or Grafana documentation. We're not experts in these solutions. Okay, it looks like the installation process has gone quite smoothly. So now we are going to take a moment to make absolutely sure that Grafana starts up automatically every single time this machine boots up. At this point, all our information has been entered, so we have the packages, we have Grafana installed on our WAPT server, and we're told that once the packages are installed, we can connect to the IP URL of the server or the machine that has Grafana on port 3000, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to open a new tab and then identify our server. So there you go, this is indeed our server, to which we're going to add port 3000. We've successfully accessed the Grafana interface and we're told that the username and password are both admin. We do that and then we generate a new password. We're going to enter WAPT, and once that's done, we've successfully retrieved the URL, and now we need to add a data source. And it's at this point that we'll use the second documentation, the one for WAP, where we'll allow our server to be queried. So the first command is to check which version it is. Also, we use the press command, which sends version 17. We really need to pay attention to the commands. For example, if I retrieve the file, if I open it like this, it won't work because in this case I'm on version 15. So it doesn't exist. I no longer have Postgre in version 15, nor the database. So here I make sure to specify the version that I have. Following those initial steps, I am being instructed by the person in charge to carefully incorporate it into the rest of the mixture as required. Managing the entire database, that's exactly what WAPT does at the end of the day. And here we're going to enter the IP address of our server, WAPT 10.11.4.126. I think that's it. We have an MD5. But once that process has been completed, we can then look to put a variety of other things in its place, unless we are eventually offered a SCRAM solution. Chart 56, distance 466. I just want to check that it's going to be fine. I save my file. Moving forward to the next step, now that I've added the IP, I am finally going to configure it to listen on all interfaces. In this specific configuration, Regarding the specific command, I am going to change 15 to the number 17. And you will simply be able to find it right over there. Address list, so we uncomment it. And here we're going to set it to all interfaces. We save. Once that's done, we can start the service. Version 12 is starting to get old. Maybe we should update the documentation. And now, as a result, we need to set a password for our WAPT user. So if we use the one from the documentation, it says password. Otherwise, we can set any other password we want. Okay, so at this point, we should be done with this part of the documentation. So we no longer need these documents. We're going to go back to Grafana, and this time we're going to look for us, our database is PostgreSQL. And so here we're going to set the IP of our WAPT server, 10.11.4.126, the name of the WAPT database. The user is also called WAPT with no password. We're going to use WAPT as well. It needs to be disabled. However, TLS, disable SSL. That's pretty good. Save. We can see that we have a message. It's good. We can exit. We can create our dashboard. To create our dashboard, we're going to make a new one. We're going to put something here. By default, I only have one database, so that's the one it loaded for me. What I suggest you do at first, later on, if you want to create more advanced or more specific queries in Grafana, you can. But for now, since the queries you get from here are often tables, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to retrieve the queries as we retrieve them here today. For example, if we get the BIOS list or the OS list, the one I have is here, we can get the content. We can execute it. So there you go, we have a result. We have a machine, we can see that it's running Windows 11 Pro. We can keep that, we can tweak it a little. Thing is, I'm not an expert in Rafale 1. I even used numeric values for the test, etc. For instance, the title, for example, might be something like the OS list. Save. Tourneau dashboard. So we've written a first element, now a second one. For example, this time it will be a table. For this table, I retrieve the computer list the same way I get it from here. After rendering the file correctly, I'll save the project, and then just as it is, I'll put a new panel. It's not very good. A complete list of computers. There you go. We have a very simple first dashboard. It will be up to you to customize it further. Afterwards, if you want to get the one I have here, for example, what we'll do is export it. First, I successfully retrieve all of its underlying content. Then I return back to this specific location. And after that, I proceed to import a brand new dashboard into the system. It already has a name. I retrieve it as is. There you go. I got it directly from the export. Now, I don't have all the information because indeed I need all the machines to be able to answer that. Everything should be coming up normally. We can see that already. The agent, the one it's reporting to, and 3 things that should match are showing up. This will take a bit of time, or alternatively, you can go through each of the queries and re-execute them. Just like I did. So you might be wondering, how exactly did I do it? Well, I did it in a very straightforward and simple method, so here it is. In the end, by the time we are finished, you'll be able to bring up the entire functional dashboard exactly as it is seen here. But of course, keep in mind that you won't have the same specific number of agents or data points and so on. In my demo, broken legs are less fun to watch. And there you have it. So we've basically gone through the whole process. We installed Grafana, made sure it works, configured it, and now we already have a template. This is pretty much the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be able to create the most beautiful dashboards possible. Don't hesitate to share with us if you have any really interesting dashboards. It could be interesting for us too. As I mentioned, we're not experts with this solution. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't hesitate to share your most beautiful dashboards with us. Goodbye.